Hello, I am Joanna Magana, and today we are going to dive into the start of some sewing content here on my channel, The Casa Magana. I have a very basic sewing machine. I have the Singer Simple, and while I have had it for 3 years, it was in storage for 2 whole years before I got it out and started learning how to use it. I am 10 months into the journey of teaching myself how to sew, and it has very quickly become my favorite pastime and my favorite hobby. I actually just cleaned out my closet and did a big closet sale on my Instagram so that I could afford this Brother overlocker machine so that I can improve my makes and make them last even longer. But this isn't something you need to get started, but I am really excited about it, and I do think it's gonna level up my sewing. That is not what today's video is about. Today's video is about fabric and what to look for when you are thrifting for fabric. I got this cabinet at an estate sale years ago, and on top I have some quilts that I got at an estate sale. But under here, this is my fabric stash. Since we have pretty limited space here where we're renting, I also have utilized all of these baskets for extra storage for my sewing supplies, and I'm gonna give you a little tour of what's inside those. Okay, so this is the stash, and I have it organized in different baskets, and I'll show you what they are right now. These are my flannel fabrics. This is fabric I plan to use for quilting. This is my project basket. And then over here, I have a thing full of scraps. And then I have my quilts and my bigger pieces folded. So tip number 1 is always look at the fabric so that you know the quality of the fabric that you're buying before you purchase it. Cotton and linen is going to be better for the environment, it's going to last longer, and it's going to be better on your skin. After a bit of practice, you're going to be able to identify cotton fabrics pretty easily, even if they're not labeled. I found this cute gingham fabric, and I think it was $1. It was all wrapped up and there was no label, but I knew from feeling it that it was going to be 100% cotton. This is one of my favorite 100% cotton finds so far. I found this bolt of fabric for $5 at an estate sale, and it's actually a vintage fabric, and I have some fun plans for it. I'm going to copy my sister May and make a fall inspiration video of all the fall makes I'm planning to sew. That will be coming soon. Keep your eye out. All right, this is the mother load. This is my collection of quilts and quilt tops, and every single one, with the exception of one, was found at an estate sale locally. Tip number 2 is find a good app or website to follow estate sales in your area and keep an eye out if they post previews and you find quilts. That way you can make sure to go and snag a few because they're really fun to have on hand for projects. These are quilt tops, meaning they are actually unfinished. And I have gotten these because I can't decide if I want to finish them or try to make something new from them. They are a little bit damaged, and I'm gonna try to get creative upcycling these. I haven't landed on what I want to do, but I think the bottom one was $5 and the top one was $6. I knew I wanted to buy them, and even though they've sat for a while, I believe that one day I will have an idea for these. My third tip is whenever possible, have a project in mind. That way you're not just hoarding a ton of fabric. That being said, if you have the space, thrift fabric that you like and wait until you find a project that fits that fabric. I have really limited space, so I have to keep all of my fabric in that bottom section of that cabinet or on top of my closet. It helps me be really picky and mindful about what fabric I bring into my sewing space. Okay, now we are on to the fabric that I have thrifted. I have a bunch of thrifting videos already on my channel and many more planned. I absolutely love thrifting. I believe all of these were under $5, which is crazy for the amount of yardage that I get out of each of these. I'm gonna give you a little closer look at what they are and tell you a little bit about where I found them in the thrift stores. This is a 100% cotton duvet, meaning I'm gonna get double the fabric out of it because it's meant to have a filling. And this was $5 and it was 50% off. You never know what you're gonna find in the bedding section. And some people don't want to upcycle sheets, and that's fine. But a duvet is kind of a different story. It normally goes on top of the bed. And I just thought this was a steal, and I have plans to make a dress out of this. Some thrift stores get so many donations, they don't even know how to really organize them. And that was the case with this linen cotton queen sheet. I actually found 2 of them wrapped up in tape in a bin, and they were $1 each. And I'm actually already making a skyline dress with the other one, and I'm actually gonna try to dye this one brown and see if I can get a different color out of it, just because I do have 2 of the exact same sheet. And that brings me to my next tip. Don't be afraid to buy fabric for $2 or $3 and then buy a $4 bottle of dye and make it exactly what you want. I am not gonna be able to find a linen cotton brown fabric for this price at this amount of yardage. So it's totally worth it to me to put in a little bit of my free time and try to dye this until I get it the color that I want so that it's the ideal fabric for my next project. This fabric is one of my favorites, and I have plans to make a Sid tie dress with this and also a skyline dress because there is so much here. And it actually still has the tag on it. It was $4.99 for this insanely large amount of fabric. And this is my little basket of my premium fabrics. So everything in here is 100% linen, and I've been saving it for when I get an overlocker because I knew I wanted the things that I make with this fabric to last. So now that I have my overlocker, I'm gonna be planning some projects with these. These curtains are 100% linen, and they are this beautiful cream color, and I have plans to take the rings off and make something new. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna make with this yet, but this was, I think, $2 at a thrift store. It was all bundled up in just a miscellaneous thing of fabric. And my advice is just to go and look and be willing to dig through because you never know what you're gonna find. I don't even know how expensive it would be to get this much linen fabric, but I am really glad that I don't have to spend that much. So I will admit, this was actually thrifted before I even started sewing. It is a full-size duvet, and I got it for $10.99 at a Goodwill on the coast. And it is the most beautiful striped beige and gray linen. And I got it originally thinking I would use it for one of my children's beds. But then I realized I would be crazy to use something this beautiful on my kid's bed where they're probably gonna get like peanut butter and jelly on it. So I stashed it away, and it has been in my storage unit. And when I got my sewing machine out, I decided to get this out too. And now that I have an overlocker and I can really make a quality piece of clothing, I'm really excited to plan something for this fabric. You're probably not gonna find amazing linen fabric every single time you go to the thrift store, but there can be little finds like these quarters. I actually don't even know what they're called. I'm still pretty new to sewing, but these little swatches of fabric that you can get for 50 cents, $1, $2, depending on your thrift store. And they can be really fun. I personally love to look for more vintage fabrics, and these are ones that I have for some patchwork projects. I think the really fun thing about thrifting for fabric is it can present a lot of opportunities to get creative and to think outside the box and to have something really unique. You're not going to be able to go to Joann's and get these 2 exact fabrics because they are older and they're more unique. And I think that that's part of what makes sewing your own wardrobe really fun. I was going to go through all of my fabric, but I did not realize how much I actually have. I definitely need to sit down and start planning out some projects and get organized. Otherwise, I'm going to be drowning in fabric pretty soon. I hope this encourages you as a new or seasoned sewist to check out local thrift stores, local buy-sell trade groups, and estate sales to see what fabric you can find for a good deal. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have lots of sewing content coming your way, and thrift videos and family life, and just all the things I love to share here on my channel. I'm Joanna Magana, and I will see you next time.